Chad even managed like 2 liters per 100 kilometers on a very short trip the other day in that Corolla, which is insanely low. Obviously, that is really going out of the way to try and get it as low as possible. So it's not normal driving conditions, but it's incredible that it's capable of doing that. Hello guys, and welcome to another AutoTrader podcast. My name is Rainer Ferree, and I'm joined by
me,
Tay Mbiri. And then also we have got Anne Alberts coming in live from Cape Town.
the Windy City.
The Windy City. And today we want to get into a topic which is hybrids, or rather new energy, and how cars or different manufacturers apply this new energy into their vehicles. And we are going to go over and explain a little bit about how each of those work, but also just make it more easy to understand. So are you guys ready to give some critical answers?
Pretty ready enough. It is a bit of a broad topic for the most part, and just understanding how different systems work and how it's kind of bridging that gap between full combustion to hybrid and then also on into EVs, which you guys have tested 2 EVs also, so I'm also keen to hear about that in a little bit, but we'll get to that.
I was about to say to the viewers and listeners, you must stay on if you want to hear about 2 of us having driven the very same EV in very different conditions. So yeah, just stay online. Anyway, to jump in, there is obviously quite a variety of hybrid types. And each of them have got a little name, and all of them work in a very different way. So I thought we'd jump in and sort of see how does each one work, and what is a real hybrid and what is a mild hybrid maybe. So Tay, do you want to explain to us what a mild hybrid is?
So mild hybrid, it acts more as a power assistance of sorts. So you'll see them commonly in a lot of modern cars now. Like I see them with Mercedes-Benz products in particular. Like recently I had a GLS and a GLC that had my mild hybrid tech in a sense. So you commonly hear them called as 48 volt because it has electrical components. So it just helps with lessening the burden of the engine in the sense that, okay, there's an electrical system to help you boost that. So you even see like increased power outputs in that, and also just easier driving out and about in town and that. So we've driven a few of them. I think we can all speak about models that we've had. And let me ask you guys this, I'll forward the question back. Like, how did you feel about driving those actually?
Well, Anne, you want to jump in?
Well, if you don't know that it's a mild hybrid, you probably won't really feel the difference that much. So recently we drove the 48-volt hybrid Hilux 48-volt Raider model.
Yes.
And what it does is there's a little bit more power when you accelerate. So it's got better smooth sort of inline acceleration. And what it mostly does is reduces the engine load. It gives you a little bit more power when you need it. It makes your braking more efficient. So because you're recharging every time you brake, it helps with your fuel consumption. So it basically just makes everything just that little bit better, smoother, more efficient. So it's like a little bit of a superpower that the car has that makes it better in every respect.
And I have one question, because you drove the mild hybrid Hilux. Does the typical Hilux owner, are they going to see the benefits of it, or is it still just going to be, you know what, I'm still just going to be the typical Hilux owner or something like that?
Well, I think it depends because, it does improve everything about the car. But whether South Africans are going to be buying into a hybrid in a bakkie that's an absolute industry stalwart still remains to be seen. So those of us who drove it and went on the launch and who learned everything about it, we are going to be dead keen. But it's probably going to take some convincing. And also, it's not replacing any of the others. So it's really just a few models that have hybridization. So it's not going to take away anything from the other models.
I can still carry my mini braille stands.
Well, just to carry on, let's jump into just a normal full hybrid vehicle. I think one of our long-termers we have is just a normal hybrid vehicle. It's a Toyota Corolla hybrid. And so how does this work? Well, it obviously has a slightly larger battery capacity, and then it runs alongside the actual normal combustion engine. So that is what we would refer to as a parallel hybrid vehicle, where alongside the engine, it just helps very much like the mild hybrid, just to take a lot of strain off of the engine. But in various scenarios, especially in traffic, the car would actually switch over to a full EV mode. It's obviously the range is highly limited. It's like maybe 20 kilometers or 60 kilometers on a charge, or if the battery is full. But ultimately, it's just helping you out and lowering your fuel consumption. I know Chad even managed like 2 liters per 100 kilometers on a very short trip the other day in that Corolla, which is insanely low. Obviously, that is really going out of the way to try and get it as low as possible. So it's not normal driving conditions, but it's incredible that it's capable of doing that. And then the engine would actually charge the battery. So there's no plugs or anything like that. The engine will charge the battery as soon as it runs low. Also regenerative braking. So obviously the electric motor will switch poles essentially and just recharge the battery as you coast down a hill or start to slow the car down. So yeah, that is basically what a full hybrid is. Like I said, from our experience, I'm a big fan of a full hybrid. Driven quite a few of them. But plug-in hybrids, a little bit fancier. Anae, do you want to tackle plug-in?
Well, I had a plug-in hybrid a while back, the Toyota RAV4 2.5 plug-in hybrid, and it just came as a unit for local media to test out, to see how it would be received here. And I see they are now going to market. So with the plug-in hybrid, you plug it in, but there's always that reserve of the engine. So even if you do run out of battery power, you've still got the engine to fall back on. So it's really just the best of both worlds. But obviously, when you've got electric power, your fuel consumption will be so much better. But it doesn't mean that if you're stuck in the middle of nowhere and you've run out of battery power, that you can't go anywhere. So I think for people who would want to own fully electric cars, the plug-in hybrid is almost there. But for people who have range anxiety, obviously, it's a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's as close to EV lifestyle as you're going to get without buying a full EV, because you can run it quite far on just the electric power. But then, like you say, you have that safety net of, okay, if I do run out of power, there is an engine, there is fuel in the tank, off we go. But yeah, also what makes the difference is because it's got sort of the plug-in functionality. It obviously also has that larger battery, longer range on full electric mode. And that's why they incorporate the plug-in sort of feature, because you can obviously go into a mall or just charge it at your house, and you'll know your battery is always topped up. And
you get the best parking.
yes, you can get all the
right at the door.
Right at the door. But speaking of getting parking close to a door, so recently I've been driving the Volvo EX30, and I think Anae, you have too.
Yes, I've actually just gave it back this morning.
And so
I just went to the launch.
So obviously all three of us have experience with the vehicle, and recently, just to break down, I've had it for a total of 7 days, and I was commuting from Pretoria to Joburg and back. And to be honest with you, I have the opinion that if an electric car doesn't feel like there is a compromise in your life, as in terms of your general schedule and the way you move around, it has already won the battle, because you're not compromising because you're adopting new technology. In fact, it's just cheaper to run and more efficient. And that is the main feeling that I got from my experience. Yes, with that EX30, because especially if there's fast chargers available, which at Mall of Africa, as I mentioned now, right in front of a door. parked it, plugged it in, and I noticed that it's a 200 kilowatt hour charger, like a volt charger, which meant that I could go from 10 to 15% all the way up to 90% charge in my car in like 40 minutes, maybe.
Not too shabby.
From what percentage?
From
How
like,
empty was your battery before you started?
15. 10 to
10,
15.
10
Oh,
to 15
brilliant.
more or less.
Yeah. So having availability of a fast charger, I think your whole life, I think you won't notice that you're actually driving an electric car. I never experienced range anxiety. And how about you? Because while I was just commuting between Joburg and Pretoria, you did something a little bit more crazy.
Well, when I realized I was going to be doing it in the coldest week of the year, I sort of felt a bit of regret, but then I thought, well, I've got the car now, I might as well push on. So we did Cape Town to Bloemfontein via Hermanus, and we decided we were going to do the N1. And we were basically driving 200K, stopping for a charge, driving 200K, stopping for a charge, because there are only X amount of charging stops from between Cape Town and Bloem.
Yeah.
And also when we had to charge, sometimes it was like 1 or 2 degrees. So it was absolutely freezing. And as soon as the temperature drops, so does your range.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But what's interesting was that on your infotainment touchscreen, it's at the top, it shows how much your range is. And then at the bottom, it shows when you put it in your GPS, how much battery power you're going to be left with when you get to your destination or your next charging point. And I always found that there was a bit of a discrepancy. So the range it gives you seems they're a little bit overcautious, which I suppose is a good thing.
Yeah.
But every time we landed at our next EV charging point, we still had about half a battery left.
Okay.
And most of the charging stations along the N1 are actually quite fast.
Yes.
So most of them are 60 or 80 kilowatts.
Yeah.
But of course, driving a car like that also brings its share of vagrants to the car and people who just randomly unplug the car when you're not there. And people who decide to give your car a wash while you're not there and unplug the power source. We had a very interesting journey.
That sounds like a very interesting journey. But that's the thing about, it's like you say, when you drive a car like that, you are going to attract attention. And mine, I would say, attract sort of a lot of attention because it's moss yellow. So it was literally this golden yellow color, which actually
like custard.
It's even brighter than custard. But yeah, it very much grew on me. But definitely, everybody was looking. Everybody was, okay, here's this bright.
It's a showstopper, right?
Definitely a showstopper, and I quite like the design of it. But what did you think about the minimalist interior?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Volvo is my favorite electric car brand at this point. I just find everything intuitive and user-friendly. And I love the minimalism. It just quietens my mind. And basically the car drives itself. I mean, you've got pilot assist switched on and it does most of the driving. And what I found very relaxing, apart from having to do like a 1-day journey over 2 days, because that is what you do, just having those assistance systems at your disposal means that there's a lot less driver fatigue, but also it has the downside because obviously you're trying to save your battery. So there's a lot of yellow line driving, and you're letting a lot of people overtake you. And also you don't always want to switch your heating on. But on the plus side, I must mention that even when we switched our heating on eventually, because it was just absolutely freezing, there wasn't a huge drop of electric power or battery power. So I had my seat heaters on at all times. It was non-negotiable.
Well, you see, I've got a small little criticism about the interior, just one. And,
what is it?
And you can actually go and watch my video review, which would have dropped last Friday on the AutoTrader YouTube channel. And in that video, I explained to you what that is, as well as a bunch of other things I do very much like about my little Pikachu, because I called it Pikachu because of the yellow and black, and it's electric. Anyway, Joe. So, Anay, I believe your report is also coming out for this week.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay, so there's a lot of Volvo EX30 content coming your way very soon. So please do keep your eyes peeled on our social channels. Go onto the website and go to our YouTube channel. Definitely to do that.
It has a soundbar.
It does have a soundbar. Harman Kardon. I just still don't know if I'm like pronouncing it correctly, but yeah. Just to sort of come back to a little bit to the hybrid topic as we've been discussing now. We do need to give the viewers and the listeners a couple of pros and cons of having a hybrid. Is there anything that comes to mind for you, Tame?
The thing is, if you're going to be owning them long term, and look, battery technology has improved significantly in the past 2 decades, even if I can say, because hybrid tech is not exactly a new thing. It's been experimented with since as far back as the 80s, as far as what I'm aware of. So it was nickel batteries before. Now it's lithium ion, and then more improvements are on the way in that. So if you're planning on keeping one long term, the potential of the battery getting a bit tired after, let's say, maybe a decade or so can be a risk factor. But then ultimately, if you are buying a used hybrid, just be sure to check, like, okay, what is the battery health at this point in time? Are the cells still good, and everything else in between? A lot of the, if not all the hybrid cars that I've seen come out as of late, they do come with warranties on the electrical components as well. So you don't have to stress too much in that respect.
Yeah.
But that's the only con I can think of so far. But apart from functionality, it's a seamless thing.
Yes.
From what I've seen so far, I haven't driven a hybrid car where things have gone totally wrong and topsy-turvy. So
yeah,
that's what I would say.
And you, Anay, anything that you would like to?
Well, hybrids are generally a little bit heavier.
Yes.
So that can impact things like tires and so on. But I mean, I think they're eco-friendly. They have good resale value. Manufacturing is slightly eco-friendlier. That is debatable, of course.
Yes.
But the fact that they charge themselves through regenerative braking, I mean, the fuel savings, for example. And I mean, you don't have to spend big on a hybrid. I mean, look at the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid. They're not expensive.
Yeah.
Then you're getting those fuel savings. So if you're buying like a very, very expensive upper crust hybrid, then you have that initial fuel cost. I mean, that initial cost of the car, which can be high. But if you're going for like a lightly used Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid, then it's an absolute win-win situation.
Yes. Well, my biggest benefit, I would say, or pro of the hybrid system is the fact that a lot of supercar manufacturers are starting to utilize them, and they're not utilizing them to save the world or anything like that. Well, I suppose it does bring
save the power.
I suppose it does bring fuel consumption down slightly, etc. But they are using them for performance. So just to name a few, I mean, you've got Lamborghini's Revuelto. I mean, that's a V12 engine paired with a hybrid system. And Lamborghini, even though they've very recently put out a video where they show the benefits of driving in EV mode only, it is only to cut down the noise as you drive out of your neighborhood, just to not annoy your neighbors, etc.
Curtain twitching.
But you can sort of see, okay, their focus point was to take that electric motor and obviously boost the performance of the vehicle. And another company within that whole VW, Audi group, Porsche, etc. Porsche has now launched a new 911 with a hybrid powertrain. During the launch video, they did a drag race with the previous gen 911 as well as the new hybrid. The difference, I mean, there's minimal changes.
Quite stark.
Yeah, there's minimal changes to the actual combustion part of the new 911. But the difference that hybrid system made just in a drag race, a straight drag race, is incredible.
Is the new 911 the hybrid one? Is it turbocharged?
I believe it's turbocharged and obviously a hybrid system as well.
So you got everything.
Well, it's the power that you want. I mean, if you just need to put your foot down and that electric power is there immediately. So I suppose that is another massive benefit to hybrid ownership.
100%. And then if you like track days, So when the Ferrari LaFerrari was launched way back, a replacement should be due very soon, actually. But when that came out, Ferrari said something very interesting, and that is that during your shifts of your transmission, even in those split hairs of microseconds, the electric powertrain is continuously powering your vehicle. So it's still accelerating. So even in those small little sections, the electric motors are still propelling you forward, which I think is actually quite cool as well in terms of a performance aspect. And then if you think like it's only those manufacturers, even Bugatti just dropped the new Tourbillon, which has got a V16 motor in it, combined with 3 electric motors.
Imagine.
So everybody is going that direction. And then very lastly, we cannot not mention this car because we've had so many comments on it very recently.
Here it comes.
And that is the Mercedes AMG C63 SE Performance, which Chad took up Simola Hill.
Check out his videos. Really nice.
Please go to our YouTube channel and you can go crazy in the comments. We'll even answer you. Trust me, we actually read our comments and not some social media manager, us, as in.
Yes. So if you're tuning me, I will reply back. Thank you.
So we actually invite you to interact with us on our social channels, on YouTube, on any pieces of our content. And it's us that's actually responding to you and giving you answers. So please do that.
Just be polite when you do so. Thanks.
Yeah, no curse words, please. Anyway, anything you guys wanted to add on the topic?
Just more experience sorts of hybrid vehicles and that. So I had Honda Fit Hybrid over the December holidays. Series parallel hybrid, as you've explained very nicely earlier. And it's that thing of, the nice thing about hybrids is the familiarity with driving a normal combustion vehicle versus not transitioning into this. And it seems like, at least to me, it's a logical step, pretty much. And also the pricing is coming down significantly. And if I recall correctly, Corolla Hybrid, not Corolla Cross though, we're almost like at the 500,000 Rand mark, and Chad actually has that on test pretty much. So I had to go with the Corolla the other day, and I thought, this is very familiar and recognizable. Like, you don't even notice half the time that the car's gone into EV mode and all that in between. You know, it's reflective at the pumps, that's for sure. Yes. And I mean, especially with fuel pricing at the moment, I mean, it's needless to say.
Yeah.
But I think it's perfect for that, and it becomes so refined at this point now. I sat there even with the Fit Hybrid, and I said, which finance am I applying for right now? And, you know, so on.
Just sell a kidney.
Oh, man, that's the thing. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it's the next logical step.
Yes.
And also what makes sense to a lot of people also, because from an affordability aspect, it's also getting there as well and becoming more attractive. So I think that's my 2 cents. Thanks.
Yeah, I think if we look at a lot of manufacturers lately, other manufacturers that was more committed to the EV route, a lot of them have shifted focus towards more hybridized models first. I think, and Toyota, for instance, they've just stuck with hybrid. Sure, they are developing electric cars and they are working on electric solutions, but they've, in terms of the product lineup that we see, they've just stuck with hybrid.
And for years even at that point.
And so I think going forward, that's something that we're going to be seeing a lot of, is just a lot more hybrids, whether it's plug-in, parallel, series, whatever the configuration.
My bicycle.
We're going to see definitely a lot of them. Okay, well, Tay, thank you so much for joining me. Anae, thank you, Cole, for dialing in all the way from Cape Town. And hope you stay nice and warm.
Thank you. You too.
And then to our listeners and our viewers, thank you so much for joining us. Please like, subscribe. If you like hybrids or don't like hybrids, please comment down below. And go and check out that EX30 articles as well as my video review. And again, comment there what you think.
He's got an eye for style. Go and watch his video. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Search AutoTrader.